Well, I'm going to give you guys one last regular season. The Raptors end the 82-game schedule with a 120-100 no-problem victory over the Minnesota Timberwolves. Now, I get it, they were sitting a lot of guys. But in the end, guys, you know what? I didn't really care how this game progressed and how it happened. I think all of us just wanted to see a victory because, and you guys made it very apparent to me in the last couple of videos about why we needed this last win, or the last few wins, right? And I was looking at it, I'm like, yep, you're exactly right, everybody. I'm going to give you guys the credit where credit is due. And the Raptors, with the win today, have locked up second place in the NBA. So, if the Raptors make it to the NBA Finals, they will have home court no matter who they face. That's great to have. That's really, really great to have. Now, before we start talking about this game and the video, I want to talk to you guys real quick. Now, I've said in the Leafs videos and all that stuff, for the playoffs for the Toronto Raptors this year, I am going to do everything in my power to get down to Jurassic Park for the playoffs, for some of the games. Again, I don't know right now, as of yet, which games I'll be able to go to. More or less the weekend games and maybe like, like a Wednesday, Tuesday or Wednesday night. Those are the games that I'd probably be able to get down to. However, I can't guarantee anything. Once the schedule comes out, and I am praying the Raptors start the playoffs on the Sunday, because I don't want to have to deal with watching the Raptors and Leafs at the same time. That's already stressful enough when it's a regular season game, let alone playoff games. And what do I do if we're down in the square? I don't know what's going to happen. But I'm hoping they play Sunday, because I might try and get down there for the Sunday game. I don't know. We'll have to see how it all plays out. But if you guys are interested in going down to Jurassic Park to watch the Raptors in the playoffs this year, with myself and a few people that I might be bringing down, please let me know in the comments below. Let me know on Twitter. Guys, links are in the description for Twitter. So follow up, DM me if you guys are interested. It's a lot easier when it's on Twitter, because then I can talk to you guys back and forth instead of having to read comments and go through comments. You know, it's a lot easier, and if you guys are interested, please, please, please let me know, because I'm jacked up. Now, I'll say this whole spiel again in the round one preview, whoever we end up facing. But now let's talk about this final game of the season. Now, they don't have Karl Anthony Towns. They don't have Robert Covington. They don't have a lot of their main guys who didn't play, right? Derrick Rose, Jeff Teague, Taj Gibson. You know, those guys don't play. So, really, their only main starter, you could say, was Dario Saric, Andrew Wiggins, and Jones usually isn't their starter. Like, some of the guys that don't usually start for them started. For the Raptors, we did not see Kyle Lowry. Obviously, Patrick McCaw is still dealing with his injury. And no Serge Ibaka. And for Kyle, I get it because of a lot of nagging injuries over the last little while. So you want to give him that extra. You didn't need him out there tonight. They got the job done anyways. And for Ibaka, you wanted to see what Chris Boucher has in store. So you give Ibaka the night off. And boy, oh boy, did Chris Boucher look good. He got the most minutes he's probably ever had. Well, not probably. The most minutes he's ever had in the NBA. He played 25 minutes, and man, he didn't disappoint. 15 points, 13 rebounds, a couple assists, 7 of 10 shooting, 1 of 4 from 3. He had 4 blocks in the game, plus 16 on the floor. And guys, the bench unit, that was the difference maker in the game today. I don't know how often we've been able to say that. Ideally, I understand the bench was really the starters for the Timberwolves, so they really had to use their bottom-of-the-barrel players. But the Raptors, I was really, really happy watching the bench get double-digit points and watch the ball movement and seeing them play so well. Not only because they're making shots, but it's for their mental state and for their confidence heading into the playoffs. You know what Kawhi Leonard's going to give you. He gave you 20 on 8 of 14 shooting. Pascal gave you 10 points, 4 boards, 2 dimes on 4 of 6. Usually people would say, well, he didn't. That's not too bad. That's not too great. He only played 18 minutes. Kawhi only played 24 minutes. Gasol had 9.6 boards on 3 of 5 shooting, 2 of 3 from 3. He only played 23 minutes. Freddie VanVleet played 27 minutes. He had 16 points. Look, the Raptors, in the first quarter was kind of back and forth. They were actually -4 after 1 quarter of play. But the second quarter is when they really dominated. The Raptors really took hold. 43-19. was the score in the second quarter. They kind of dominated. And then in the third, the Raptors were -2. But I mean, really, that second quarter is really all you needed. You didn't see Kawhi Leonard or really any of the starters for the final few minutes of the third and all of the fourth quarter. So this was kind of like the perfect game for the Raptors. The reason I say that, you wanted to get your starters out there. You wanted to then get into a nice groove, get a nice sweat in there, get them feeling good, and take them out and have your bench guys get in there, put them for the majority of the time, and still get the victory. And that's exactly what happened today. You saw a lot of the starters early on. That's great. But then you saw guys like Boucher play 25. Powell played 20. Lin played 20. OG Anunoby played 18. Jody Meeks played 18. And that's the stuff you wanted to see. You wanted to see those guys get out there and make an impact. And that's exactly what they did. You saw Boucher with 15 and 13. You saw Powell with 10. Jeremy Lin had 8 points, 4 boards, and 5 assists. Ideally, he's probably not going to be one of the playoff roster guys, as much as I hate to say it. He hasn't been that good as a Raptor, since he's come over. OG Anunoby had a pretty good night, I thought. 9 points, 5 boards, a couple dimes, and 4 of 6 shooting. 1 of 2 from 3. He was a plus 24 while he was on the floor. Now listen to this. Danny Green was a plus 10, as he always is, pretty much, and so was Kawhi Leonard. But the bench unit, Boucher was plus 16, Powell was plus 22, Jeremy Lin was plus 14, OG was plus 24, and Jody Meeks was plus 20. They got the job done. They got the big lead, and it just gave Nick Nurse kind of a sit back and relax approach. Now, this game doesn't really mean anything to any of us except for locking up that second seed in the NBA. The Raptors shoot 43% from 3, 52% from the field, 71% from the line. They out-rebound them like crazy, 54-35. The offensive glass by 2, 7-5. Assists were -1, but the Raptors had 24 assists. Again, without Kyle Lowry, you're going to see that low a little bit. But turnovers 18. Look, don't read into that at all because, again, like I said, the bench guys were out there for most of the game, or at least it felt like it at least. And really, it wasn't more or less trying to picture perfect your game because you've had 81 other games to do that. You know? And now that the 82 game schedule is over, now comes the time that every single Raptor fan has been waiting for since the day Kawhi Leonard was traded here. We made that trade, getting a top 5 premier talent. And with that trade being made, and the acquisition of Danny Green as well, this team had the capability of going all the way. And now that the blossoming of Pascal Siakam has been incredible, but now is the time, and Kawhi Leonard, like I said in the Leaf video in the last one, Kawhi Leonard has talked so much about 82 games is practice for the playoffs. All right, fellas. Practice is over. It's game time. Let's get going. Now, we don't know who we're facing as of yet. It's more or less going to be either Brooklyn or Orlando. I think Detroit has an outside chance of getting to us. So, hey, Dwayne Casey, all those talks you had before, you might not even face us. I mean, watch. After I say that, they're probably going to end up facing us. But in the end, guys, the Raptors are the better team. Like, I'm sorry. As much as we can talk about, Blake, and Andre Drummond, and they've been good against Raptors this year, it's playoff time. We have not seen playoff Kawhi Leonard yet. We don't know what that entails. Spurs fans understand what that means. And people who watch the Spurs on a daily basis or saw Kawhi Leonard play a lot there, they know what playoff Kawhi is all about. The Raptors fans who just watch the Raptors are not so sure. So now we're going to learn where he's valuable, and it's going to be in the playoff time. We knew it. Now we're going to see it. Now, there's a ton of questions going into the playoffs. Who's going to be that ninth guy that's going to come off the bench, right? OG Anunoby is one of the names in there. Jeremy Lin's one of the names in there. There's a lot of different names that are mixing in, I guess, in the mix for those last few spots on the playoff roster. More or less, it's going to play. But this is the time we've been waiting for all year, people. The up and down year of injuries and some at points inconsistency. But in the end, you ended up with one less win than last year. I'd say it's a pretty damn good season. Anybody saying otherwise is nuts. 58-24, and you had your fully healthy lineup for 5 games this year? That's a damn good job. And lately, other than a couple losses to the Charlotte Hornets, who you might never see. You probably won't ever see. The Raptors have dominated lately against teams who have been fighting for their playoff lives. So, I'm ready to go. I know you guys are. It's a long time coming. Like I said, I hope to goodness they play Sunday, because then the Raptors will not play on the same night as the Leafs, and I just don't want that to happen. I want to be able to watch one playoff game and the next playoff game, and then have it vice versa. That would be gorgeous if that's the case. Now, we're going to learn that tomorrow probably. Once we figure out who we're actually playing, then the schedules will come out of who, I guess the days and times of when those games will be happening. It's going to be a really interesting playoff run, people. Now, we cannot look past round one. We know where all our aspirations are towards the finals. You understand? Well, we're getting through round one. I get that. I really do. And I feel the same way. But we can't look past the team. Let's say you play a team like Orlando. They have grinded and fought with the Raptors all year long. You play the Nets. They've grinded and fought with the Raptors all year long. And we all know what happened with Detroit. These teams are not scrubby teams. Record-wise, yeah, they're not the greatest compared to the Raptors. But regular season records mean nothing. And I'm intrigued to see how this Raptor team is going to do in the playoffs. How's Kyle going to be? How's Marc Gasol going to be in the playoffs? How's Kawhi going to be? Is Pascal Siakam going to transfer this 82-game schedule he had into the postseason? Will Danny Green still be able to shoot the three like he has in the second half of the year in the playoffs? All these are question marks, but they will all be answered once the playoffs begin. You got to take it one game at a time, one series at a time. Let's not get ahead of ourselves and start thinking towards the second, third, and finals. The moment you start doing that, and you forget about the team you're actually playing, things go wrong. For the Raptors, one game at a time. All right? So, guys, thank you guys for all your support all year long. I really do appreciate it, guys. From one day to the next, it's been a grind. It has been a fight. It has been emotional at times. But we got through the 82-game schedule. And the moment we have all been waiting for has finally arrived. Playoff basketball is here, and it's happening this weekend. Can this weekend hurry up already? I'm jacked up. Leafs start their playoffs on Thursday. Raptors could start their playoffs either Saturday or Sunday. Please be Sunday. I'm excited. I know you guys are. Because what do I want to call it? The hype, the expectations are through the roof. Let's see how it goes. All right, so thank you guys so much for listening, all right? And that is going to do it for game 82, the final regular season game of the season. All right, so if you guys have not already, smack that like button. I do appreciate that. Hit the subscribe button if you guys have not already. Comment down below. What do you guys think of the video and the MVP from today's game? If you want to give it to Chris Boucher, by all means, go right ahead, because that's my MVP. He was spectacular. I loved what we saw from Chris Boucher. And, it looks like a little Pascal Siakam from the past. Dominate the G League, play a couple good games in the NBA, and then next year, I don't know what's going to happen with Chris Boucher, but all I know, he was the MVP from tonight's game. All right, I'm going to hear your guys' thoughts on this game, the playoffs, who'd you rather face, all that great stuff. And Evan and I will talk to you guys. Podcast edition is going to be a Saturday afternoon. All right, as we'll be talking to you guys in the podcast. Links are in the description for the podcast channel and for the podcast itself on iTunes. Twitter is also down below. Follow up, send me a DM, do all that great stuff. And I will talk to you guys Blue Jays edition on Thursday as they round out the mini 2-game series against the Boston Red Sox at Fenway. Aaron Sanchez on the mound for the Blue Jays as the Bluebirds. They look for their second straight victory in the mini sweep of the Red Sox. Ooh, that'd be beautiful. And Nathan Eovaldi is on the other side for the Boston Red Sox. I think it's a 7-10 first pitch at Fenway. As for the Leafs, game 1, round 1 of the playoffs is the next time I'll be talking to you guys on the channel. Thursday night, Leafs in Boston, taking on the Bruins at TD Garden. Oh boy, it has been a long time coming. And the Leafs playoffs are finally here. 7 o'clock puck drop. They're at TD Garden. And as for the Toronto Raptors, guys, I will be talking to you in the round 1 playoff preview. Whenever we learn the schedule, I can ballpark it. I'm hoping for maybe Friday because there's no Leaf game, and I can maybe get that out to you then. Because tomorrow, I mean, I don't think we'll know the schedule tomorrow, and not until tomorrow night, right? So I don't know how I'm going to play that out. Plus, I want to give it to you guys kind of in between now and the playoffs beginning. So I think Friday might be a good mix of that. We don't know who we're facing yet. Again, I want to hear your guys' thoughts on who you'd rather face. And thank you guys so much for listening and watching all these 82 games. And, of course, the few trade videos that were in there as well. Thank you guys so much for all your support. I really do appreciate it from one day to the next. And I'll talk to you guys very, very soon. Playoffs edition for the Toronto Raptors. Thank you guys so much. Thank you guys so much for listening and watching. We'll talk to you guys then.